Minions sold more tickets than Pulp Fiction. Minions is not a better movie than Pulp Fiction.
Says you.
Lowest common denominator. When you appeal to the lowest common denominator, you tend to get the most fans and the most exposure. But when you focus on quality, when you want to settle down with someone, you don't say, oh, how many people has she been with? It would be great to get someone who's been all over the place. You tend to be like, I want someone.
Those apples and oranges, Ricardo. Come on. That's apples and oranges.
Like,
The mics are blood clot open. Check, check, check.
Select accent for the podcast.
Calvin always late.
And I have not seen hip hop respond to anyone that way until Kendrick came. And like the whole culture sees Kendrick as the golden child. That's why Snoop and them put the chain on him. Like, you the king of the West now. And so when you have that kind of backing from the culture, what happens is someone else who's, hold on, I'm the biggest selling artist out here. I got hits every summer. He takes 3 years off. What do you mean he's nice like me? But you forgot, it's not about hits, it's about the culture. And this guy was anointed by the culture. You were a fan of the culture. It's almost like I can learn how to speak Kikuyu. But am I gonna get mad that they're like not happy with my grammar versus yours? It's like,
Are we
I'm not
recording?
from the culture. We are, but it's not easy. It's just,
No.
I really
It's a good
enjoy.
convo, yeah.
I really enjoy sharing my perspective with Andy because, like, the kids need teaching. You know what I mean?
I'll take it, yeah.
He said, I'm here to educate you.
And no, but I learned a lot from talking to Andy as well, because I was saying, like, from my generation, we see hip hop as this hyper confrontational thing. And the current generation sees it as vibes.
Right.
And I had to kind of key into how, it's a new wave now.
And a new interpretation.
New interpretation of the culture. It's like, it's more vibes. It's like, yo, Drake got hits every summer. What do you mean this cat's nicer than him? Drake's been carrying hip hop on his back. Drake sings. Drake does this. Drake does Afro beats. Drake does house music. What do you mean this other cat's as nice as him? And I heard that from enough young people. And I realized the kids need teaching.
Listen.
No, but what are the metrics? What are we looking at? How we gauging? Who's to say this is what we're looking at? This is the criteria. Who's to say that?
So I'm going to give you the perfect example. Minions sold more tickets than Pulp Fiction. Minions is not a better movie than Pulp Fiction.
Says you.
Lowest common denominator. When you appeal to the lowest common denominator, you tend to get the most fans and the most exposure. But when you focus on quality, when you want to settle down with someone, you don't say, oh, how many people has she been with? It would be great to get someone who's been all over the place. You tend to be like, I want someone.
Those apples and oranges, Ricardo. Come on. That's apples and oranges.
But like, I try to use something extreme to drive the point home, right? Which is kind of like, when you seek quality, you tend to understand that you will not be under the biggest tent possible. Drake makes quality music, but he makes very accessible music for non-hip hop fans, which I think is great because it makes the tent bigger. But when you come into my culture, you have to understand their rules. Similarly, I'm not Kenyan. So when I come here, I got to understand there's certain ways of being that I might not understand, but these are the rules of the place where I'm operating. I've had guys that, you get to JKIA and you say the wrong thing, guys like, I will send you back home. And he's kind of playing, but he's not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. I think you're right about metrics, though. If we go on sales, it's Drake. If we go on awards, it's Kendrick.
Can I just say something? Usually when we clip the intro for the podcast, I always think it's too long. But I think this has been a great intro to the podcast.
Let's start.
This is The Mics Are Open. My name's G Money.
Ashley.
Rico the Great.
Neville.
Andy Young.
And Ricardo is back in the building.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You know, we changed our entire recording date just because of you.
Now you don't
Yeah.
have to tell him that.
Yeah, now it's over now.
Now it's over.
It's over.
Andy.
I missed you too, bro.
You'd be surprised at what I know.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, by the way, Andy, since last time.
Oh man.
3 years ago, right?
Here we go.
I was here. So we recorded, everything was great. I felt like I developed a great relationship with Andy. So what do? I go on Twitter, I click the follow button. Then I realize Andy is one of those people who posts like astrology all day. And like within, I want to say 4 or 5 days, I clicked the unfollow button. Oh, no. But then he kept showing up in my For You page. So I was like, not interested in this post. Well, we got to work on your Twitter behavior, bro.
Now we don't, bro. But
I think Andy lives in his moment, which is the way to live, actually.
no, what would you like to see on my Twitter, Ricardo? Tell me.
And
That's a good one.
so I think you're an exceptional DJ.
Thank you.
I would love to pull up on your page and be like, yo, here's a dope mix. Or check this DJ out.
Okay.
I would love to pull up on your page and get like music advice. Or kind of hear like, oh, this is how Andy's living. Your IG is different. I don't know why you front for them people on Twitter.
No,
Because your IG is different.
Bro, Twitter is a different space, bro. Twitter is a
Explain to me
completely different
as
space.
an older man in his 40s, how do you view like the social media? Like when you're on Twitter, who are you versus who you are on Instagram?
It's more of Twitter is a different environment. It's like maybe Instagram is this place, then Twitter is this other place. So I know if I want this. So case in point, my Twitter, entertainment, right?
Yep.
I love pets. I love astrology. Some nasty content sometimes, you know. I don't mind, you know. The algorithm has been the thing. But sports, a whole lot of sports, you know, and all that. Entertainment, music, hip hop, a bit of lifestyle here and there.
Yep.
But me posting, contributing, not as much.
Yep.
So I'll do more of that on my IG and my TikTok
If you want to know Andy, you need to be on his Snapchat.
or Snapchat. Yeah.
You don't even know Andy on IG.
Listen,
You need to be on his Snapchat.
There's private stories also.
the day my wife sees Snapchat
She
on my
knows.
phone
Yeah.
with disappearing messages,
She knows what
there's
going.
certain problems I don't need in my life.
hear that,
So
man.
if you will forgive me, I will follow you on IG, and anything you want me to know, I'm gonna find it out over there.
Green circle gang, bro. I got it.
Disappearing messages on any app,
You
I don't need to be there.
there.
I don't need to be there.
Funny enough, though, I agree with Andy in terms of the different terrains because I find even nowadays when I left radio, mentally I was like, I don't need to be in this Twitter space as much as I used to be. So literally, I can be off Twitter for 3 or 4 days and not even remember the app exists.
Yeah.
But I'm very present on IG. How have you been though? 3 years down the line, bro.
Yeah, man.
Welcome back.
3 years down
So-
since your record-breaking episode.
I don't want to be the one to say it, but last time I was here, highest rated episode, most views on YouTube. I'm not going to say it's because it's me, but I was here. So if I pull up on YouTube again and this episode is number 2, I'm going to start seeing a little trend. But honestly, last 3 years have been great, man. So since the last time I was here, I have a 3rd kid.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Clap it up for my son.
Congratulations.
What's your son's name? What's your son's name?
I didn't like that congratulations.
It was
was
a good
it.
one, sincere. It wasn't a congrats. If it was a congrats, that's
You
something
guys
else.
see that
But
meme with like that baby who's not
congratulations.
smiling like, congrats, happy for you. That's kind of how you came at me.
Never that.
So
Never
my 3rd
that.
son, his name is Usain,
Nice.
after the great Usain St. Leo Bolt. So my sons are Nesta after Robert Nesta Marley, Messiah Marcus Messiah Garvey, Usain Bolt. So Usain is now 2.5 and he's driving me crazy. People say the terrible twos. I think he's just terrible. Minus the twos. Because he has 2 older brothers. So I've been there before.
Yeah.
So he has this thing where I'll be like, yo, it's bedtime. He's like, no, like, my man, I'm nothing like my father, so I'm not gonna smack you, but it's bedtime. So I put him in bed, he throws everything on the floor, and then you know what he does? He pulls his Pampers off and pees on the bed. And then comes to see me and is like, I peed.
Wow.
And I'm kind of like, no, you're supposed to tell me I need to pee. And so he's at that phase now where like his rebellion is kind of like prisoners who burn their mattresses.
It's
Right.
giving Coco Felon for real.
Yeah. So 3rd kid, he's good. He's testing me as a parent. His older brothers, twins are 8 years old. They're doing great. My wife has been running her own business now for 5 years. That's doing great. I've changed jobs twice since I've been on here.
Wow.
I took a role in New York, which I still currently have. So I'm spending a lot of time between New York and Paris. But like, it's been really good, man. It's been like a lot of family growth. Because one of the things when we were living here, we had so much help that you could kind of outsource things, right? You have someone to cook, you have someone to watch your children, you have someone to do this, you have someone to do that. But then you move and it's just the 5 of you.
And that's it.
And I came to realize that like I was parenting as kind of like I was outsourcing too many things. So now it's like I'm much more involved as a father, much more involved as a husband, as even for me. But it's been great, man.
No, it's
been great.
crazy. It's crazy when you mention that, because it's like when I traveled recently and my friend was moving house, and I just could not work out why you like actually expected me to lift something to put into a van. I'm like, because in Kenya you're just gonna call the movers.
Yeah.
Y'all move everything, but you can do the movers over there. But the cost of that, like they're charging you like they're lawyers.
Oh, wow.
Yo,
Gee,
man.
you're speaking like a privileged foreigner.
I am.
There are people in Kenya who move their own things. Don't do that.
I ain't one of them, bro.
Exactly. Neville, I got a question, bro. Do
Wagwan.
you want children?
Yes, not right now.
Because I feel like a handsome young man like you gotta get into the family game.
It
and the
feels
way
like
you
a
said-
family meeting. It feels like a family meeting
Like,
where
what's
you're
going
called by
on?
your uncles. You're like, hey, it's been a while
Ricardo,
now.
that's that conversation that our relatives have with us
Yeah,
every end of
that's
year.
every
when they
time.
go up country, like, why are you here alone? Why are you solo
Funny
dolo,
enough,
bro?
my dad literally was just like, it's about time you get married.
Yeah,
your
we
friends
my
are married, Ashley.
grandchildren.
You're-
I want someone to disturb us.
Yeah. Like I walked into, this is like the second time he said this to me. The first time he was just like, there's something you're not doing. I
right?
said, but,
Is he right?
well, I'm doing it the
well,
right
that-
way.
Or it's what you're doing. Or it's what you're doing.
I'm really asking because like sometimes, your parents tend to have an intuition about who you are. And so I'm not saying that he's right. I'm asking, is he right?
No, not necessarily. No, he's not.
Not necessarily or no.
He's not. He's not
So
right.
you're saying you're doing everything, it's just not happening.
Got him.
Wow.
I'm not trying to have a child right now. I'm a baby.
You know he's a lawyer, right?
It got real hot real quick.
I came on
What's
here
your
to
fun?
press everybody.
Let's go back to Neville. Neville,
3 years now you've been thinking about how you're going to press us now.
He's just like numbers. Like okay,
Yeah.
I went gold last time. This time I'm going for platinum.
Platinum.
Nah, if I don't know, she wasn't here last time, so she might be what's holding me back.
I love it.
I'll be like, it's something she wasn't doing.
let's go.
love
Ashley, so I don't know if the cameras can see your toes, but
Honey,
you
get
definitely
in there.
I get in there. Yeah,
Here's
YouTube,
my
you're
question
happy.
Tell me.
Findmyfeet.com.
Yeah.
What impact do you think white toenail polish has?
So, okay, I don't know. Kelly, a friend of ours, Kelly, I think you know her. She calls them what does she call them?
Fuck Me Daddy.
Fuck Me Daddy 3000.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm
Excuse
putting.
me?
Yeah.
That's such a
Yo,
parent
you
thing
know,
to say.
before
What
the
did you say?
episode, Ricardo was saying, we need to teach the kids, we need to teach the old men. like teach them what you're saying right now.
So the white toes are called the Fuck Me Daddy 3000. This is the first time I've actually put white.
So wait. Question. So when you go into
Austin,
the
please
store,
behave
like
yourself.
the nail store, do you say, "I'd like to have those"? What is it?
Fuck Me Daddy 3000.
And they get it.
No, that's all
Oh,
those
okay.
name
Okay.
internally.
I just need to know that.
But this is the first time I'm putting on white nail polish. Usually I go for the darker polish.
Is
But
this Ashley from the Busset Challenge?
Ashley, what do you have to say?
Ashley. No. Because she think,
Not you, the friend. Kelly.
Kelly.
Did she
That's
do
it?
it?
Huh?
did she?
I wonder.
I think she did.
She might be.
Just thinking, yeah.
I think she did.
What
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah, let's say
Yeah,
she's the one.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
the one.
Let's say
Yeah,
she's
she's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agent Q.
Yeah, but since I got them, I mean, my feet have been called edible a couple of times. I was told I should put them on a menu. Thank you, Andy.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
Andy.
Under the bus,
It's
peep, peep.
the hello from under the bus.
I feel like this is like a football match where people are like being put in position. You pass the ball to Andy to avoid the defense.
But no, yeah, facts.
Very
Because,
strategic.
yeah, as she's saying, most guys who like eating feet.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a kink.
Yeah.
It's a fetish. food
Sucking
fetish.
toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Killing.
niggas who suck toes. Yeah, oh, sorry. I was crude, not eating feet literally, but sucking toes. Yeah. So most of the ladies who do that, I find that their toenails are white. So when she's coming from the money and pedi, you know, and she's looking all white and stuff, you kind of know what time it is. Yeah.
I have a question. Are you on TikTok?
Nah.
Okay.
She'll get on
The
TikTok.
clock up, yeah. So,
I'm old.
Then?
I kind of.
No, the reason I asked is it's so interesting because it's like I'm sitting here, I'm listening a lot today, and I'm hearing this conversation, and it's more extreme than the conversations we usually have, simply because I dabble in all of these little spaces that these guys are in, even though
Yeah.
I'm an older guy.
Yeah.
But now it's interesting hearing someone who doesn't do Snapchat, who doesn't do TikTok,
yeah.
and hearing that perspective.
I tend to like. I'm more into the young culture, like the young kids, right? Because I have 8-year-olds, so like I watch what they do. I'm really in tune with their world, but because I don't have teenagers yet, that part of it hasn't really hit me.
Right.
And so a lot of it to me, when I get around it, I'm very curious because I recognize that like you guys live your lives so publicly that nothing is off limits. Like I would not have said what you said.
Oh.
But for your generation, it's kind of like, yeah, it's all out there and we have nothing to hide and we're really proud of it. So like for me, like it's a real education. So when I ask these questions, it's not just to put you on blast. It's really to kind of understand like what's moving the culture right now for like your age group.
Does it like scare you sometimes? Like, do you see some things or do you see some trends or you monitor some things and you're like, wow, this is like a different level. I need to prepare myself, you know, because how I feel as if, as you said, you're doing some modern parenting kind of thing. I'm sure it's different in different parts of where, you know, even how you grew up and where you stay right now. Yeah, as you said, you're not going to hit your kid. Here in Kenya, someone will be like, hey, come on now. What are you talking about? Spare the rod, spoil the child, you know, type of thing.
Yeah.
But is there some, as you've said, you've been monitoring some things. Are there some things because there are different challenges that, you know, are online and stuff. Are there things that your kids bring up to you? Are there things that you've seen and you're just like, wow, this is going to be...
it's a bit concerning to you.
Yeah, it's going to be
It
concerning.
is, right? And I think like the biggest thing is we're so locked in to everything that no one is really locked into any particular thing. Like you open your phone, I don't think we were meant to have access to as many opinions, as many people at the tip of our fingers. So like we purposely don't have a television at home, right?
Purposefully?
They don't get iPad time or none of that. Maybe an hour a week. Maybe they'll watch a game on my computer.
Wait, you don't have a TV at home?
I don't have a TV.
Why?
How does this work?
Because I want my children to do exactly what they've learned to do, to draw, to go sit and read a book, to actually go play with each other, right? So there's a video my son's made of like one of them holding a box up with his face in it as him being on the TV. And he's like commentating a match, right?
Okay.
And so there's a certain creativity that we sometimes lose. Now, I do think technology has benefits, right? Like kids who can learn how to code real early, they can learn how to draw. But I think the screen time takes away from your attention span a little bit. So the fight I'm having now is to try to ensure that our sons grow with the ability to do one thing exceptionally well, as opposed to the desire to always be doing everything. And it's funny, when we were coming over, there's this quote, it's like, the person who chases 2 rabbits catches neither, right? And so when you're always doing everything, what are you really doing? So if I have one fear, that's really it. It's how to keep my children focused on a particular goal without having FOMO for what everyone else is doing.
But isn't there a counter to that where you could say that they are growing up in the era, in the age of the internet, of access? In years to come, it's going to get even worse. Isn't there a chance that by the time they can now access these things on their own, they're overwhelmed by the world, so to speak?
Yeah,
There is that angle there.
I think there's definitely a chance of that, right? And so it's kind of like trying to develop good eating habits.
Right.
Is you don't say no chocolate ever. Okay, once a week you can have some chocolate. And similarly at home, my wife will say, "Oh, you can take the iPad and draw, but you can only draw." Right? Or we're in the car and she'll be like, "You can draw something." Or they're like, "Oh, I want to watch the PSG match." Okay, let's watch it. So it's not like a complete zero screen, but there's definitely a control of like, okay, you've had 2 hours this week. I think that's enough, right? Because I sometimes walk into other people's homes, and really the quickest way to lose any friend is to tell them how to parent their kids.
Facts.
So like I'll go over and I'll see things. I was like, not in my house. And like be like, and I'll tell my wife like that kid can never sleep over.
Yeah, right. Because
And what's the opposite to that? Like, do you when guys when you've said about the sleepover thing, it's really interesting because I used to be that kid where my parent was like, you know, like you, and they would you know give you a certain view of the world, but not all of it, and you'd want to sneak around and find out for yourself, you know, and try and get around it. So when you see things like that, when you've said you go to another person's house and you see things like that, are there people or certain kids where you're just like, they can't come over?
Oh, 1,000%.
Come on, Rick.
Like
Do
there's
your
some
kids
kids
know
who like,
Mandamano?
but the other part is true, right? Like there's sometimes, like I'll see a kid and I'll go to my wife, like we gotta invite her over, we gotta invite him over, because like I can see the vibe that there's a similar culture between our family and that family, and right, you want to build a community around your children that reinforces what you're teaching. Because the rest of the world is going to spend time challenging it, right? The same way the first time you left your parents' house and you went out, somebody offered you something your parents told you you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And now it's up to you to make a decision. But if you've gotten enough reinforcement and confidence in your choices, then you no longer have to worry about, man, I want to fit in, right? I'll never forget, like, so my wife and I started dating. You know, had a few bumps. And I remember her saying to me, look, this might not work out and I will be okay because I have a family that loves me.
she's coming from
Right?
Yo,
She's coming from
are you sure that she's not Jamaican? Jesus.
Right? She's coming from a position of someone who is confident in who she is and the choices she's making. Because that's been instilled in her and her family. And I remember that moment because I didn't feel like I had similar confidence in myself and my choices. And it got me wondering why. And one of the things I realized is now that we're married, she's got a whole army of people behind her.
Right.
Our wedding was my mom, my sister, and a bunch of my friends. She was in there deep.
What deep?
Aunties, uncles,
Wow.
aunties who were mad that they couldn't make it. Right? So
Is it correct to say that what you want to do is to create that environment that gives your kids the ability to go out into the world and say, you know what, even if this doesn't work, I know where I come from, I know who I am.
I come from somewhere.
And do you know what's crazy about that? That is so, I never thought about that. That's crazy because I remember when I left home, right? My grandmother used to drive this into my skull. She's like, yo, wherever you go in the world, never forget that you have a home.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was the shit that gave me the confidence to go everywhere. So when I came to Kenya, and it's crazy that we're having this, because when I came to Kenya, every one of my friends who I said, I'm going to Kenya, tried to talk me out of it. Where are you going to? Well, why are you going to? They didn't even say Kenya. Why are you going to Africa? Like, you're not African. You're not from here. You're not from there. And when I called my grandmother, I'm getting defeated. But when I called my grandmother and I'm like, yo, mom, I'm thinking of going to spend some time in Kenya. She was like, yeah, go. She was like, yeah, go and see all the places that I won't get a chance to see. And now that you've mentioned that, it's crazy because when I think about it, that when my grandmother passed away, of course there was grief, but the biggest feeling was, yo, my safety net is gone. You get me? Yeah. So I resonate. I really agree with you when you say the environment you create for those kids is what's going to dictate how they interact with the world as they go forward. Because my grandmother was big on being fearless and knowing that and every time in my life when things didn't work out, I went home.
Yeah.
Unapologetically,
Yeah.
cool off my heels for 5-6 weeks, 5-6 months, then go back in the game. So yeah, that's an interesting analogy.
Yeah. So the other thing that happened, being gone for a little bit, notice the young people in the country been causing a little ruckus.
That's why I'm like, your kids don't know man, I'm easy. Once they get a hold of that.
How did you view that? When you saw all of the demonstrations in Kenya and what was going on, how did you see that as someone who's lived in Kenya?
I feared for the worst, right? Because of what happened the last time there were people in the streets like that,
Yeah.
right? And so I was watching it with a kind of, man, I hope this doesn't go left in the way that it can. But at the same time, I kind of saw it as kind of a younger generation affirming themselves.
Right.
Right. And when a generation comes of age, the older generation doesn't give you what you want. You take what you want. And I saw a generation that was finally ready to take what they thought they deserved or to get a seat at the table to have the discussions about what they don't have. And so in a way, it kind of made me proud of the young people of the country, because like political awakening for any generation is difficult. And then I saw Calvin with a mask on downtown. I was like, Calvin doing that for the gram. I was like, Calvin is doing that for the gram.
He even called himself Dead of Calvin.
Exactly. And then I saw him post, we need as many young people
What are you trying to
downtown
say
as
about
possible.
Calvin, man? What are you trying to say about Calvin, man?
Yo, let him cook.
No,
Cook, bro. Cook, bro.
All I'm saying, Calvin, I love
Need
you.
an onion.
But my perception of it,
Right.
and easy
But-
for me to say, right? He's down there in the middle of it. It can go left either way. So I'm kind of being facetious, right?
But another angle could be, like, there's been times when there have been disturbances and demonstrations that people didn't feel evolved
Yeah.
to go. Because, like, for example, I've known you guys for a while. Y'all were in the streets. They were out there.
Calvin knew this was the one to get the clicks. He was like, this is the big one.
Crush his
This is
head.
my
Big
moment.
C, crush his head.
I'm messing with
Crush
Calvin.
it.
But enough of, like, it doesn't really matter what I thought or felt. Like, it's more kind of like, how did you guys feel watching, being a part of it? And then, like, because it seemed very organized, right? It seemed like, oh, tomorrow we're going to be at this place in CBD. Then the day after we're going to be here. Did you guys fear for your life? Or did you feel like, you know, we have the freedom to express ourselves to a point?
Ashley?
I was going to let you go first because you were there when, the thick of it. I mean, it was
So Neville's
all-
the most thorough, okay.
Yeah. I went the last day, actually, when Parliament went up in flames. And that was the most, I think, scary day. But even when we were going, I was with my friend. She's called Tasha. Shout out Tasha with our little, how do you tear gas a baddie t-shirts, right? And what we had been hearing is, like, even the cabs that you're going with, they're probably cops, so don't talk about mandamano, don't talk about where you're going to be, etc. So even before we got there, we were scared.
Yep.
We were scared shitless. We were just like, okay, but we got to do this because there's a passion that was driving us, right? There was an anger that was driving us as well. There was also, like, we're doing this for the future. Nothing might happen now, but later on we want to be a leader or part of the leaders or the revolution that created this movement or whatever. So yeah, there was a lot of fear, I wouldn't even lie to you. But when you got in there, I think the adrenaline just moved you. So even for us, at some point we started going, like, deeper because you remember there were, like, different
Sections,
Sections. So those, like,
So apparently they had, like, the VIP
Well,
demonstration.
Calvin was
Calvin
VIP.
was
that was VIP.
So you had the VIP section, then you had, like, the regular section.
Yeah. So we went to the VIP first, and then we're just like, let's move a little bit, inside now to the regular side of things. But that was a very messy day. And one of our friends called us, and they were just like, if you're in town, get out right now. And we're like, let's stay a little bit longer until we saw the flames. So that's when
I
we
will
were
never
like,
forget
head
that
out.
day. I will never forget that day. Like, I was home. Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
I was home, right? But so being at home, now you're watching it through the lens of the TV channels.
Yeah.
bro, when I saw like Parliament being overrun, and then when the demonstrators were shot outside Parliament, like they were shot like literally on camera, like within them being shot and the camera panning, and obviously I guess the cameraman moves away and stuff. And I just felt like this is a moment that in 20 years' time, people will talk about this day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People will talk about this day. This is a different moment. And my worry because I think literally almost everybody in the groups that we're in was like, yo, if you're in town, get out of town. Because now we're also getting, we know one or two people, but now we're also getting the word of, yo, this is about to happen. If you got people who are in town, they need to leave town. I think it was a watershed moment. I'll never forget that day, man. That day was different.
Yeah, the vibes everywhere, especially even in the build-up. And you've talked about the coordination and stuff. And what I guess the intriguing thing about this whole thing is that you really never know when it's gonna happen. But once you check in online, you will just get the message that, we need to be at this particular point at this time. We need to make sure we're in our numbers so that, everything is coordinated in a form. But it was, as everybody has been saying, leaderless, tribeless, effortless, everything just working in coordination because we are all aggrieved. When we go to the supermarket, my price is the same as the police officer's 100%. Price. It's everybody's
maybe
in this. Sorry?
Maybe not.
Okay, I don't know where that policeman is shopping, but okay. But yeah, maybe not. But so we are all in this together. We're fighting for each other. So for me, it was all about that. That's why even when I was attending, when I went the first day, I didn't even go with my phone. I left my phone at home so that I could be in the moment, so that I could just feel it, be about it, so that later on I can just be okay.
So you left your phone home that day?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't really about that because where I was going, I knew this is not that time to pull your phone out. The minute you pull your phone out, you might, end up losing your life or get hurt, So you just have to be on your P's and Q's and on your toes. So for me, when the first times we were coming out, it was all about being there and supporting each other and being about the movement. But then later on, of course, as you said, there was all about the VIP area. It was cool to get the numbers and get guys to come on board, but also not forgetting the message,
Why did you go? Because you said you left your phone thinking that if you pulled it out in a certain place, it might be life-threatening.
Yes.
And you left your home without a way of reaching back.
Yes.
Knowing that. Why?
Because whatever is happening at this moment, it's one of those moments when we were young, we used to say, when I grow up, man, I can't wait to be old. I can't wait to experience certain freedoms. But now we are older and everything is just falling apart. I can't believe 1 minute I can have a job, then the next minute I can be called into a room and be told, we can no longer do this with you because of the economic situation. It's never been like that ever. You understand? So there were certain things that were personal. Or when you go to, to a health center and your parent, the person who you're working hard for, can't access a service because someone is just not playing their part the way it's aggravating in a way where it's like, okay, cool. We've tried to, talk to you guys. We've tried to, bow down to you, Mheshimiwa, but that's still not working. So let's try.
Like boss, MP,
like boss, like
MP,
chief,
Politicians,
Can you call me that?
No.
You're more your boss.
I need a shirt that says that.
I feel that even when you speak to people, I think it was very personal.
Yeah.
People, like this demonstration, as opposed to any others that have taken place, it felt very personal because the conversation was not about politics in terms of like my guy didn't win the election or my guy won the election. It was about, like the taxes are killing us. The cost of living is too much. These are real personal things to everyone.
Listen, I thought it was kind of crazy that they were going to tax you for living with your parents. Now, as a parent, I'm kind of
You're gonna be like, let me collect.
Also, I think it was personal because they're carrying us for idiot, right?
Yeah.
Like, with every single thing they said, with every statement, it was carrying us for idiot. So I think that was another reason people actually went on numbers.
But we could also ask you. You live in Paris, bro. Paris is the capital of demonstrations.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been out in the streets out there?
Bed bugs and whatnot.
In Paris, Paris have demonstrations. It's Thursday. Let's get in those streets.
So this is going to come off the wrong way, but it's also the reality. So our first place that we had kind of overlooked this protesting area.
Okay.
And you moved.
No. So, and the thing about it is like, so the protests, they don't just kind of happen serendipitously. Like it's an like you reserve the space, you do this, you do that.
Right.
And so my kids would be like, oh, let's go, there's a manifestation. And they'd watch from the window. And that started becoming like Saturday theater.
Is that manifestation in French?
Yeah, like protest.
Oh.
Sorry. So manifestation is like a protest, right? And so they'd be like, Papa, there's no manifestation today. What's going on?
They're looking forward to it.
And so it's like, but it's a big part of the culture there where when you're not happy with something, you take to the streets. Now, there's the other side of that, which is when I'm not happy with something, I'm going to go do something about it for myself. And not everyone has that capacity, right? So those who do not have to protest. But sometimes I do believe that what comes after protest is also important. Like, how do we build the solutions that we want? How do we become a part of the solution?
Which is one of the issues that we had over here, where we had the demonstration, the voices were heard, but the organizers, quote unquote, did not put that post-demonstration process, because now you have to now make those changes in the way that the language of the quote unquote oppressor. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Andy, you've been real quiet, man. Do you want to talk about Drake?
Why do you mention Drake?
Yeah, now he talks. Now he talks.
In the game.
An interesting,
Seriously, go ahead.
Yeah, an interesting side that was also good to observe was creatives who felt politically charged enough to create, you know, pieces of art, whether it was photography, you know, music. Because now we had a whole culture, and it took me back to, okay, well, not took me back, but you think of when Kina Park were trying to do politically charged content when maybe other guys are doing raps about other things, you know, and you can see the back and forth, the tussle with the powers that be, you know, and you're trying to send a message, you're trying to capture a whole moment. And we came up with a new national anthem for the country that everybody has been going wild with. So, yeah, Anguka Nayo by Wadagli. So to me, that was something that was interesting to observe. Like, yes, there's a lot of madness going on, but what's the silver linings? What's the beauty in the ashes? So that was interesting for me to observe. Yeah.
The beauty in the ashes.
Yeah.
Come on.
I might have to steal that one.
Come on.
I might have to steal
Project
that
that
one.
property.
The beauty in the ashes.
That shit.
So you came in yesterday. We're recording this on a holiday on Thursday. It's out tomorrow morning.
How do you pronounce it? Is it Uduma? Or?
Mzinga Day. Oh.
They changed it, didn't they?
Mazingira.
Mazingira.
Yeah.
First
Is
it
it?
was more.
It was
Mazingira Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mzinga Day.
It's on its third incarnation now.
Cheers.
So you came in yesterday. You used the expressway for the first time.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's a life change.
15 minutes. Now, feared for my life a little bit. Because, you know, not too many people take that road. So the driver feels he could just book it. Right. And he's just like flying. And I'm like, I'm not going to say nothing because there's nobody else out there.
It's called
But,
Express
like,
for a reason, yeah.
From the airport to Museum Hill, 10, 12 minutes?
Yeah.
Nah, you can't. I used to remember being stuck out on Mombasa Road and being like, oh, man, we're just at odds and ends and it's been an hour.
Let me tell you, and I said this as a joke the other day, like the generation coming up will never know, like when we used to be hustling and like having to go, well, we're still hustling, but like go out and meet clients, and the client says,
You sure you hustling?
I'm hustling, bro.
Is that nail polish I see?
It's
Nude
I thought you were going to say
police.
the wrist.
so anyway,
I was going to say the wrist, you know?
What's that on the wrist?
it's just like
Yeah, just like, something
right.
Cotton picking,
Yo,
cotton
by the
picking.
way, I need to go. No, need to go for manicure. Yo, I take care of myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, self-care.
You should. But you know, a hustler's hands is usually. You got any dirt under your nails?
Okay, let me tell you, hustling in my context is different from hustling in somebody else's context.
Exactly.
I've done my time in the streets,
Look what
so
you've
my
done,
hustles are different. My hustles are different. Like I'm saying, my hustles are different. My levels are
Corporate
different.
hustle.
Yeah. So I
Good
mean,
company hustle.
yeah, 100%. So when we used to be like, when a client would say to us back in the day, oh, so we'll meet at our offices on Mombasa Road at 2:00.
Yeah.
Bruh, you just felt your whole life, your whole day move away from you. Because you know, to come from this side to Mombasa Road to maybe Samia Park or somewhere, yo, you gotta factor in 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
Yeah.
It's the same with Thika Road. Remember when you guys these guys used to go university up there before the road? Bruh, there's a time when I was called to do something at USIU.
Yeah.
Radio, even before radio, there was something I did up there. Fam, let me tell you, I sat on the old Thika Road for hours. By the time I got to, and I left where I was going early to get there early. By the time I got there, I was already late.
Yeah.
So this generation will not know the dread that used to be in your heart. Like now I leave Westlands and go to Mombasa Road for the fun of it. Like I'm like, yo,
You sound pissed. You sound mad.
no, I love it.
It's like you want to put them through it to understand.
Yeah,
where you're
I
coming
need to
from.
go through it. Bruh, I can leave. Like when I was at Radio, when I used to work at Radio Africa, there are days I would leave Radio Africa, get to Westlands, and I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm like, actually, the quickest art cafe that I can get to right now is in Capital Center. Go on the expressway, 5 minutes, you're Capital Center. Parking's not an issue. You have your lunch out there, rather than find a way to park somewhere in Westlands.
Wait, you were hungry in Westlands,
Yeah,
and okay, it's fine.
yeah.
You went all the way to.
By the way, and there's more than once where I've left work, got to the roundabout by Western and said, you know what, let me go eat, and I've just jumped on the expressway and gone to Capital Center. Because it takes you 4 minutes to get there.
Literally.
You know?
Yeah.
Nah, no,
Like I said, my house-
there could be many other spots within
Yes,
Westlands.
there
before
could
you
be,
get
but like I'm just thinking, because for me at
the
this
taste
moment,
buds have decided.
no, not only for that. You see, it's more distance but less time. So, for example, by the time now I can drive to Kileleshwa Art Cafe, but I'm going to struggle to find parking.
Yep.
And it's
I can-
populated.
All right, I
People
can drive to one of these other ones somewhere else and have to go down into the basement parking, or I can spend 4 minutes in the expressway, come off at the entrance to Capital Center, park up, and be in Art Cafe in 6 minutes.
Sounds rich.
Why you never eat in a kibandaski, man? You just walk to some place 5 minutes.
No. I'm not
Some
there.
nice chapati.
I'm not there. My life isn't. You know what?
love it.
One thing. One of the things that I will say.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for God for the life that
Don't
I've
say
had.
that, don't.
Amen.
Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, the cheapest place to go, the best place, the quickest place to go and eat is here. The most convenient time-wise for me to go and eat is there. Because time is the asset. I'll go the distance because it saves me time.
Love it.
Aye, man.
Hey, we're sorry.
Yeah.
Ashley, you on Bumble?
So Ashley.
No, actually, yeah. I'm on Bumble and Tinder.
Oh, you double dipping.
Yeah, but I do it for fun. And we had this conversation actually. Double
For fun?
dipping, damn. We had this conversation on my other podcast, Double Sided Tape, where Andy was so vexed at us.
Double-sided tape.
Yes.
And you're on Tinder and Bumble.
No, double-sided
know?
tape.
It's a podcast. Yeah.
Right there, bro.
So Andy got so mad because I told him, or rather me and myself and Nimrat were telling him, we just scroll, like we just swipe for the fun of it. Like I'm not about to go into Bumble or Tinder to be like, oh, let me start formulating relationships or let me hit someone up. No, I just want to see who's around. It's almost like a supermarket and you go around like.
So when
looking at
you
what's there.
swipe, what's your intention?
Thank you.
It's fun.
To
What is fun?
I don't, it's just looking at the people around you.
Okay, so you
It's
find
like window shopping, right? When you put things in your cart and you're just like, we can go back to that later. For the fun of it.
but you know when
Thank you,
you're
Ricardo.
when you're
Thank
window
you.
shopping and you pick an item, you take it home.
but I don't want to take any of them home. I don't want to do anything with them.
You
I
just
just
wanna-
want to look at them and see if they fancy me too, you know? If you see an attractive person, you swipe right.
But
and
you're also pissed
"Fuck
behind the
you."
camera.
So it sounds like it almost feeds your ego a little bit.
Kind of, yeah. I won't lie about that.
So you kind of want to be desired,
Yeah.
but what does it mean to the other person, right? Who, oh, she likes me, I like her too. And then you're like, oh, I was just playing.
Blue ticks.
But we haven't necessarily established that we like each other yet. We've established that we like each other physically, or rather, we appreciate each other's physical attributes or whatever, right? That's about it. Until we start actually talking to each other is when I'll be like, oh, I like you. And then I can kind of have some feelings towards me being like, oh, this was just for fun. Don't take it too seriously.
When you're signing up there's usually some details, you know, apart from your name.
For fun.
You know, yeah, there's usually feeling fun, casual.
For fun.
So is that like your primary dating source, or is it just something you do, but like when you go out?
You're asking the right question.
Because here's what I'm really getting at is like, do people still go out and meet each other? Because like when I was coming up, it was very much like,
Yeah.
hey, Ashley, nice to meet you. I'm Ricardo.
Yeah.
Can I get your number? And you'll be like, you don't even know me. Be like, nah, I'm trying to get to know you. So like,
right.
that whole back and forth is kind of a good way for both of you to see if like there's even the potential for a conversation.
Yep.
And I feel like that's now missing.
Yeah.
And it's very much like straight to market almost.
Because a lot of things are on the internet or...
Not only on the internet, but like I say things behind my keyboard that I would not say in someone's face.
Facts.
Keyboard warrior.
Right. So there's a lot of keyboard confidence that doesn't translate to when we sit down face to face.
True. And I'll say this actually, and I think that's one of the main reasons I don't execute when it comes to Bumble and Tinder. Yeah.
No,
I
what
don't-
does that mean?
I don't
also,
go
she's in agency. She's in agency also, so
She works for
the
so
language might
the language is a bit.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm doing that thing.
Let's
execute this campaign.
Switch off the
So
corporate
when you
body.
say,
Sorry.
so when you say like when I execute, that means
Like when I
Follow
go
through.
Yeah, when I follow through and like text the
meet
person,
them.
Okay.
or when I swipe right and they swipe right too, and I'm like, oh hey, what's up? Why I don't really prefer that is because I like face-to-face interactions. Like I want to look at your body aura, how you move, how you talk, and then I can actually approach how you approach, and then we start like a face-to-face conversation. From there is when we can call it old school if need be, because that's literally what you said you guys used to do. Not as old as you guys, but
Ashley, please remove
you.
the cup that you're wearing. You're wearing a cup.
but yeah, I appreciate
cappuccino.
face-to-face interactions more, and majority of the men that I have been involved with, I have actually met face-to-face, like
nice.
in a bar or in a restaurant randomly, at different like work events as well. So not necessarily on the internet. I've hit on one person on the internet though, and that didn't go too far.
they didn't hit back.
They did, but it didn't go too far.
I'm gonna stop asking questions.
Oh no, okay, would you like to know more?
Nah, I'm good. You said as much as you would have liked to.
She wants to say more.
What's your take on these dating apps? I mean, obviously you're not on them, being the
Are
man
you?
that you are.
Yeah.
Guys.
No, he's not. That's why
I'm not. I haven't been on a dating site since like 2013.
make sure it's beyond. So that's within the threshold.
Did it ever work for you?
That's within the threshold. I like that.
Then.
I don't know any other way to say this than to say work too well.
Right.
So
There was no other words to.
But like I think like online dating is like a reality, right? Like people live their lives online, and people tend to meet their mates where they live their lives.
Facts.
So people used to live their lives in church, so they met their mates in church. People used to spend hours at work, and they'd meet their people at work. But now, I'm on Twitter, I'm on IG, I'm posting stuff like I'm dancing, I'm in the gym. I'm giving everyone a window into the life that I want them to see. And so someone is looking at that and be like, oh, I would like to be with someone who lives that way. And so the way they connect is on the internet. So it makes perfect sense. because so much time is spent online. But I do think there's something lost in kind of, I don't know how someone, I think you can be witty online, but I think you could be much more charming in person, right? Because you have more tools available to you. Body language, eye contact, all of those things. You're about to say something, G.
No, I am, because I would say that I do believe the art of not just conversation, but the art of, I wouldn't say, I feel...
Seduction, say it.
Not seduction. No, I've said it before. You know, like in my generation, I kept on telling guys, and said it before on the podcast, when you were getting ready to go out, one of the most essential items that you take with you is a pen. Right? And let me tell you, you know, Jamaicans, you know, your pen has to be chopping as well. It's not like you're not going out there with a Bic. It has to be a Parker pen. You know, Parker pen, a Parker pen or something.
Clean silver.
Yeah, you got to be chopping. But I think that when I look at even friendships now amongst you guys who are friends and stuff, I find that they exist within a very functional framework, in the sense of, like, I have friends who I've been friends with all of my life who is never gonna change. We fall out, we don't talk, we talk. Da, da, da. But I feel like friendship as a
You
as
haven't
a
lost
noun.
any close friends?
Say again?
You haven't lost any of your close friends?
Of course, I've lost a few, but like
No, I'm talking about like your core friends.
yes, but like my core, like I have.
Yeah, like that core.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
lost a lot of my core friendships. And
But-
that hurts.
Yes.
That really hurts. So if you haven't lost any of them,
No.
that's exceptional.
I've lost, but I have one or two that are
Yep.
lifelong. I was never the most social person anyway.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've lost some of those lifelong friends.
I don't know how to
I'm
do
talking
that.
about like friends from 12 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like went through puberty together, went through college together, got our first jobs together. Rode
Well,
up.
I've lost all of those though. Like, but there's one or two that have remained, and that's
And that's
enough.
what I'm saying. Like those are guys I lost like in the last 3 years. So we went from 12 to 40.
Damn.
Can I ask?
Why?
But what
Does-
happened?
Yeah.
What happened? And also, does time really negate if you're true core friends or lifelong friends?
I think the love you have for someone when you've been friends for that long, like it never goes anywhere. But what I've learned is that sometimes it's so easy for someone to say, oh, I outgrew that relationship. It's really hard to be on the other side of being like, wow, that person outgrew me. And having to accept it.
Yeah.
Right. And so looking at one of your really closest friends move on in life in a way that they're like, yeah, I can't bring you with me.
And also, yeah, that's real. And also, I feel that sometimes, like, you have different categories of friends, right?
Yeah.
So for me, a recent experience that I had was I've got a friend who I've known for a long time. But then, like, when you really get to know them, you're like, oh, wow, actually, I didn't actually know.
Nah, these are my closest friends. Like, there's no
Gray area.
gray area. There's not like, I always do this. There was never thought it could happen.
So what happened?
I think my feelings got in the way, right? So something happened, and I was just like, why didn't he tell me that? And then he never told me, and he never told me, and it just kept going, and he knew I felt a way about it for a reason, right? I can't say what it is because I want to put him on blast.
Yeah.
But I felt like within our friendship, I had always been the one to quote unquote be the bigger person.
Right.
I'm always being like, you know what? I'm gonna get over this and let's move forward.
Right.
And the one time I chose not to get over it,
Everything crashed.
everything kind of fell apart. And this is someone who I would have never guessed that we wouldn't be friends. Like there's not a part of me that's like, yeah, no. Like we did everything together. When I say like 16 years old, I don't know how to ride a bicycle. He's like, look, sit on the handlebars. We're about to go apply for our first jobs together, kind of best friends.
Right.
Got jumped together.
Right.
Ran out of my shoes. So this was a time like when I was younger, I wanted my feet to be bigger than they actually were. And so I actually bought bigger shoes.
Right.
I'll never forget some Carolina Blue Air Force Ones. And so I'm wearing these size 10 and a halves when really I was a 9.5 at the time. 10 10.5 today, but like I just wanted it to happen much more quickly. You know those shoes when you're walking, you hear them. Man, me and my man Vance are walking in his neighborhood. 4 dudes roll up on us. And we know it's going down. We can't win, so we get to running. In my 10.5s. And my shoes flew off.
Yeah, I knew.
And now I have a decision to make. Because you know when you're in high school, you only have 1 pair of shoes.
Yo, I tell you.
And I'm like, I can go back for my shoes and get wrecked. Or I can just figure out a new pair of shoes. So like that's the kind of friend he is, right? Like we've been through those moments together. Like, oh, you know, there's this girl I met. She has a sister. You should come. Like, I want you to meet her. Like we've been like down. Like he was in my wedding. Like that's my man. To this day, that's still my man. Like, there's nothing between us except time, ego, and emotion, right?
I think ego is the key there.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard the conversation I had earlier with my bro.
Yeah.
About ego. I feel that sometimes, and something that I've had to learn, right? I know that a lot of my life was driven by ego. Because, like, for example, I was good at bringing this stuff together. Therefore, everyone needs to fall in line. But I've learned, and I wouldn't say that I've learned it. It's something that I've conquered completely. But I've learned to take the ego and the emotion out of every decision that I make.
I hear you. But Neville, let me ask you, what's the longest you waited for somebody to say sorry? Right? Like, you know that's the thing that you need to make it right. Or even if it's not, like someone has wronged you and the only way to make it right is to do this one thing for whatever reason, for ego or emotion, but you know that's the only way it's going to be 100 with you.
Oh yeah, I'm still waiting, but it's so good.
But you see, now I look at it differently.
Yeah.
So I don't wait for you to say sorry. For me, that's giving me an additional weight to carry.
Yeah.
So I switched it, and I'm like, I'm going to say exactly how I feel, why I felt like that, and I had to tell someone the other day, our friendship has changed dramatically because of this.
Yeah.
And I say it so unemotionally because I know myself. Because if I put it on my head, it's gonna multiply. So I've learned now in my life to I'm not waiting for someone to say sorry. Like, you know, I had a blow up in one of these work groups yesterday for one of these, and I don't care if anybody, and listen, I'm talking to the wild card guys. I don't care if none of y'all speak to me again in my life, but I've said how I feel about what we're doing. Right, you know what I'm trying to say? And I slept well last night. Yeah. But yo, if the OG would have been like, can you imagine that I've told these guys this, and not one of them has come back to say, oh, gee, I'm sorry. Nah, I don't care if you come. I'm going to make a decision based upon how I feel in that moment. Yeah. Because
I think it's...
But it's age as well.
There's that. And I think we're hardest on the people we love the most. Right? If it was someone else, I'd have been stepped to him and been like, yo, this... But because I know you know how I feel, I know you know what I need to make it right. And your refusal to do it says a lot more to me than my own anger.
Facts.
Right? And so it's not even about waiting for an apology. It's almost kind of like we know each other so much so that, like, I saw his mom and I took his mom out to lunch like a few years ago. And I was telling her what happened. She was like, y'all sound just alike. Because he feels, that's the other thing. Yeah. If he was up here, be like, yo, Rick be wild. Like, the problem with Rick is he gets so emotional about stuff that when he feel a certain way about something, he feel like he's right. But in this instance, I kind of do.
Right. but the point is, like, end of the day, I understand that feeling because it's a feeling that I've experienced. But I've also learned that the longer you allow that to fester, the harder it is for you to come back. Because the fact of the matter is, yo, the worst thing I always to say to people is, yo, if you're given this space in my life, right? Don't allow me to remember how good it felt to live without you anyway. You get me?
Yeah.
Because now for you guys to reconcile, yes, there has to be an apology.
It'll be a day and it's over.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, right?
So why?
I'm going to be at his funeral or he's going to be at mine.
But that's bullshit, bro.
I know it is, but I need something.
I'm from around the block.
No, it's not even that. It's sometimes like,
So, yo, basically, what this guy needs to do is send you a pair of size 10 and a half Carolina Blue Air Force Ones.
sometimes, and that's the difficulty with the people you love. You hold them to impossible standards.
Facts.
Right? Like my own children. I don't know if they'll ever live up to what I have in mind that they can be. Right? Because I expect so much from them that even my son was like, they came to me, the two of them, was like, yo, we don't want you at our game anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, why? And they were
Project
like,
Messi.
No, when I go to the games, I'm super quiet. Like, I don't say a word. But then after the game, they're like, how did I do? And I'm kind of like, do you want to know?
Damn.
And if they say yes, I'm like, well, brrr.
Oh, wow.
And that's also a skill that you learn. The learn is, like, end of the day, they come to you after the match and you say to them, how did I do? In that moment, they're looking for reassurance,
Of
right?
course.
But you can give them that reassurance and then break it down the next day. So you will be like, I know you, Ricardo. Let me finish. Let me land. So they come to you, they're like, Dad, how did I do, right? You have the options to say, I think that the team was X, Y, Z, da, 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 da. And then once the hubris of coming off the field, because you're their biggest superhero. So they've come out of the battleground, they've come to their biggest superhero, and the superheroes are saying, defensively, you were poor today, defensively, you were this, da, 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 da.
So what I don't say you were trash, right? I'm never like, you were terrible today. What I will do is say, okay, you had that one-on-one and you let that boy just push you to the ground.
But that's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, hold on.
Stop.
Now-
No, you stop.
Go ahead.
Stop.
I forgot whose
Right.
show it is. My bad. Nice.
I don't mean like that. I want you to say that again what you said.
Yeah.
The guy pushed you to the ground, right?
No, you
And
let him.
You let him push you to the
let
ground.
him.
So you're
Damn.
giving them honest feedback in that moment.
Yeah.
So why don't they want you at the games?
I'll tell you why.
Why?
So,
Because they want to hear a certain kind of feedback.
Right.
When they ask, how did I do? They want to be like, oh, you did really well. I'm from an era where, hold
Yeah.
on. And I think it's important because also when they come in 12th in the tournament, they get a trophy and a medal. And I tell them those are not allowed in this house.
wow.
Like, you participated, great. That's not a trophy.
It's all about the
But
participation.
I'm not one of those like, oh, second place is first loser. I'm not like that.
No.
Like you got on the podium,
No.
that's fly.
I'm just
But when you go out there and you play poorly, it's important that you know you played poorly.
I get you.
And now we need to talk about how you get better.
Right. I get you. But I don't think that it has to be something that's immediate. Because
No,
when you
I agree.
Because when you come off that pitch, it's like, for example, let's say I've come off a DJ set, right? And Andy can tell you, right? And Andy will come to me like, yo, G, you killed it. And I'm like, I don't think I did. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But flip that around where I come off the set and Andy says, yo, G, that's the worst set I've ever heard you play. You know what I'm trying to say?
It's important that you know.
But it's important that you know. But you know the day after the event or later on in the evening, and he's like, yo, by the way, was you having an issue with the deck because I heard this? It's different.
But you know what's funny? They came back to me and was like, yeah, I want you to watch practice now.
Because in that moment, practice is education.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
Because they got better. They want
Yeah.
I'm telling
He
you.
just wanted to make sure he says.
They want me there to see them. Oh, like now, yeah, I scored 4 goals. You need to come and watch. And I'm like, last year you ain't want me here. What's changed? Because I'm gonna give you the same feedback.
Yeah.
Papa, this time I'm scoring 4 or 5 goals, right? And so one of the things.
Your honesty has spurred them to do better.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
I know the children I'm raising. I'm not raising
Okay.
children in the abstract.
Okay.
Right? A lot of times people have parenting tools that they think are one size fits all.
Right.
I know my sons.
Okay, well, that's
And
fair.
I also know the privileges that they're afforded. And I want them to always recognize that being afforded these privileges, you got private coaches, you got all of this, bro, you can't be out there trash like that.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But I don't tell it to them like that.
Yeah, I'm
but
with you.
they are extremely privileged children.
No, I get it.
Go
now.
to
I get
London
it.
for a week, you're being coached individually by a coach from Arsenal's academy, right? Like,
No, I get it.
and there's a kid who's just coming out the projects who's baking.
Busting your ass.
And the weird thing for me is like sometimes I'll show up to these games and like I'll see some of these kids who show up and I'm like, I know that kid didn't have breakfast this morning. And I identify more with those kids than my own. Because I was that kid who didn't have anything. My kids show up, brand new shoes, socks all the way up, shin pads. Other kid is just there, no shin pads, ankle socks. Let's go.
Vibes and inshallah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I want
I
them
get it. I get it.
Let me.
I'm much harder on them because they receive so much. So much more than every other Bernard in the history of civilization in their bloodline.
In the history of your
Like
family.
my kids are the most privileged members of their lineage.
Wow.
And they need to know that and they need to live up to that because their grandfather, who worked the same job for 50 years to put 5 kids through school, their great grandfather, who was just a fisherman, could not have imagined coming home and saying, I have too many shoes. Where do I put them?
Wow.
So when those are your problems,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We need to find an avenue for you to have difficulties in your life. And on that field, it doesn't matter how much money your father makes. It doesn't matter what coach you have access to. That boy right there is here to bust you because he is hungry for this. And you are just here doing your little technical tricks. Get off the ball. Kid's gone the other way. And you need to recognize that's who you're up against.
Damn, there's one thing I'm sure your kids will have said or are thinking. Are we gonna live up to dad's expectations?
Absolutely not. But it's
But
okay.
also, let's put dad's expectations to the side and put ourselves in this picture. We all have potential and we all have this goal, or we're always told the sky's the limit, or blah, blah, blah. You know, we all have this huge potential in us. But I don't know if there's a conversation that we've had of maybe being afraid to reach your full potential. Like, you know, you could be the best radio presenter. You know, you could be the best footballer. You know, you could be the best at your field. But getting there and the huge, that big potential, getting there, I don't know if it's been something y'all have mingled with. Andy, I know someone on our thing was asking us something about potential. Tommy?
Yeah, someone wanted to ask, they've been thinking about the fact that fear might be stopping them from actually achieving the very thing that you want to achieve. So they want to get our perspective on the very same thing. And I think it would be important for us to hear from you guys also, because you're far more advanced in life. You've tried more things.
You see how he calls us ancient?
Advanced.
More advanced in life.
Yeah, you gotta, you know.
Gotta sugarcoat it.
Yeah. So,
When I saw that in the group, I loved that question because
let's go.
when you look at the research, for especially for Gen Z, what comes top 3 is always the fear of not making it. That's like that it's one of the biggest things. There's obviously music, community, girls, guys, blah blah blah. But right up there is the fear of not making it. And I feel that even though I'm from a different generation, I know what that feels like. But I know what it feels like from a completely different lens. And the lens is that growing up, I can say that growing up, especially my life in Jamaica, I didn't struggle. I had, as in we weren't rich and I didn't get everything I wanted, but I was never hungry. And in my mind, that was enough not to be hungry and like not going to school looking a particular way or whatever. So for me, I'd always say that we grew up, I'd say middle class, not uptown, not downtown, right? But the thing
Rich
about
guys always say that. I was just middle class.
no. In the UK, my life in the UK
Rich kid.
was hood.
Oh.
I was from the hood, like 100% hood life in the UK. My life in Jamaica was not hood, straight up. You know what I mean?
Ricardo, you know some?
So the point I'm trying to make is this fear of not trying to make it has always been there, but I feel that, like you said kind of earlier, our route out, or my route out, was always in front of me. Like, it was like, I know I want to do this. I want to be so good at doing this radio shit because I know that there's money there, for one. I know that's something I'm going to enjoy. The idea of being a lawyer or being a this or being a that, no. For me, life enjoyment is going to be within the space of radio and music, right? What I think happens now when young people talk about the fear of making it is because there are so many, not distractions, but there's so much on the table. What is it I actually pick? So it's a fear of not making the right choices as much as not making it.
Yeah.
You get, because there's so many, like, you know, end of the day, like, tomorrow, you could post something on TikTok and become, let's use this other chick for an example, the radio presenter from Shagrat Aziad. One TikTok video changed her life.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Am I right on that? Is that
with the
correct?
song.
Seriously, yeah.
Dancing to a song from an artist, right? And now she's in a different world. So when you see those levels of elevations that can happen overnight, you're wondering amongst yourself, like, I've finished in school, maybe I'm still doing this, I'm doing this. What is my thing gonna be? So the fear of not making it is tied into the fear of having so many choices, which alludes to you saying to your kids, giving them the background of being good at one particular thing.
Yeah.
You get me?
I also think, like, I wish I could fail today, but I can't because I have 3 kids who depend on me. So for me, fear of failure is a real thing. But when I was 25, I took nothing but moonshots.
Right.
I went for it. Everything.
Facts.
I was 29, living in New York. I was like, I want to start a law firm focused on Africa. I'm moving to Paris. Crazy idea. Didn't work. Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go again. Moved to Kenya. Want to start a wine business. Knew nothing about it. Couldn't. Let's go. Didn't really succeed. Y'all been to the place. It's kind of nice, but
Didn't fail though.
but
Nice.
it wasn't really
Yeah.
that great, right? So
We showed almost
when
our
you're
first
in
video
a
there.
position in life where you can fail and the consequences are low, you should give yourself an opportunity to fail.
Facts.
People seek success and comfort so much that they forget, like, the outsized returns come from trying something where the chances of failure are so high.
But the chance,
Right.
the one shot that you win,
Exactly.
crazy.
And part of the problem today, I think, is we see too many people with lotto tickets, right? That young woman who posted one TikTok video and she made it, right? Or the guy, Cabby from Senegal, that guy,
Yeah.
right? There's so many people who can make it quickly now that we almost feel bad that it's taking a while. But I'll give you an example. My best friend, best man at my wedding, been a music producer since 2003. It's 2024. Over 20 years. He got his first #1 hit with Shabuzi, Bar Song.
oh no, not that song.
Right? Hey, man. Everybody in the bar get tipsy.
I'm happy that he's
Ricardo's
got the
buying.
hits.
But my point is,
He's put 21 years in the game.
he put 21 years in. He worked with Kanye. He worked on Watch the Throne. He did Man Down with Rihanna. He did all this stuff. But it took him 21 years to do that. But the reason he was willing to spend 21 years to get there was because he loved it and believed in his talent. And I think all too often, like, you'll know what your values are when someone gives you a lot of money to do something you hate doing. And that's the moment when you have to decide, do I want to be great at something or do I just want money? And I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves an opportunity to fail because deep down we're not willing to admit we just want money. And so we're trying to figure out the best way to get some quick money.
Yep.
As opposed to being like, okay, you know what? I really want to be a great radio presenter. So I'm going to reach out to G Money, see if he responds. I'm going to try to, give me a second.
Take
Brought
your
my
time,
own water.
take your time.
From what change wine into water, bro.
So I'm going to reach out to G and see if, like, G will let me intern and do the work to get to the top. And I think a lot of times we want, like, a lifetime of someone's work in, like, 6 months. So if you really, really want to make it, you have to be willing to fail and know that it's going to be fine.
And sorry, but another scary thing that I think most people encounter is when it actually works out.
What
And now
Then
you're
what
there.
next?
And now you're there. Because we're here now. I'll use an example like, let's say, radio, right? when us guys joined national radio from campus radio, Nevi's the one who even told me about the guys who were there before I got there. And he was like, bro, you know, there's so many people who've gotten this opportunity and they get here, they feel like, now I'm here. Now I can relax. Now I can breathe. Now I can let go. And even Zimani says it so many times, the moment you get comfortable on the couch, that's when you get kicked out.
But do you guys feel like you've arrived?
No,
Never.
that's the thing. You never arrive. You can never arrive.
So what would arriving look like to you? Because right now, good company. I see a little plaque back there, 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
A lot of views on YouTube.
Hey, little plaque, come on. Have some respect.
What's the thing called? Chop Shop?
Yeah,
Right? We in the Chop Shop, good little lighting. Me and my man up there, you know, frog hat on. We live it. Right? But like, what's the goal then? If you don't feel like you've arrived, what does success look like for you in this career? And what are you doing to lay the groundwork to get there?
You want to
G told me to ask y'all that. No, I'm joking.
It's cool.
behind the scenes?
We know where to have a conversation with him, so might as well start now.
No, that's a me question because like I really think that when you have talent, sometimes it's hard to find the direction to like push it in.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you're probably unsure, right? You're like, on this podcast, it's doing well. People know me. You know, what next? And so that's really my question. It's like, what does the next leg up look like for you?
I'd say the biggest thing isn't the results that we're getting or something that we're looking for. It's how am I answering to this call? I'm answerable to my talent. I'm answerable to my skill. Am I honoring it the best way I can? Or as you're saying, let me just admit that I'm here to joyride. You know, I'm here for the money. I'm here for the shine. I'm here for the fame. You know, I'm here for all the glitters and the lights. I mean, it's not bad to want that or to desire that, but it's not the ultimate. Yes, it could be a byproduct of you serving the skill that you have, but it can't be the main focus. The result can't be the main focus. To me, the result has to be, am I doing justice to the skill that I have? Like, if you come and watch the pod, did we really pod? Did we give you quality? Those are the things that I'm worried about, because if I let you down by not being myself or not answering truly to that calling, then what am I doing here? So anybody else can come here and do this.
Yep.
And it can go.
Well, not really, not like you. I gotta give you some props. Like we could put somebody else in the couch, but they're not you.
Exactly.
Never
So
be.
to me, that's the most important thing. It's the quality. Because when someone is coming to watch Mics Are Open on Friday morning at 10 a.m., you know, I'm just going out to the debut gang. It's the quality that I'm gonna get out of this. You go through the comment sections, right? You can see.
Only on the episode I was on.
Mini narcissist.
Let's take that one, bro. Even my sister admitted that was one of her favorite episodes when you were there, cause of
Your own family likes me. Know what I mean?
In the family now.
So when am I being invited over?
Well, you have to be around for that to happen.
My brother, I'm here until
you
Monday.
don't just drop a bang and then you go MIA and then.
By the way,
Yeah.
so I send G a message.
Yeah.
I say, G, what's the best Nyamachoma place? I'm in town. You know what I mean? Like,
G, why are you
I used to
scratching your
go
head?
to the spot at Sagret.
Just read my reply.
I used to
Don't
go
even
to
paraphrase
this other
it. Read my
spot
reply.
down on what's that on Kiambu Road.
Yeah.
So you know, I have my spots, but it's been 3 years, so I don't really know if they popping like that anymore. Send G a message. I'm like, G.
No, read the reply,
First
bro.
que-
Don't
okay.
even
So-
paraphrase
That was
it.
the receipts.
I was a bit aghast, to say the least, when I
Aghast.
looked at my phone.
Austin, you must be enjoying this podcast.
He just called Ricardo a young Denzel.
Yeah, you said
behind the
you
scenes.
sound like a young Denzel. Come on
Come
now.
on now.
Hey.
I
So,
said, hey.
so G says to me, you know I'm hella bougie. So I don't really go to Nyama joints.
I mean,
Wemze.
you're kind of asking the wrong person.
No, but here's the thing, right? It was
He didn't
shocking
lie.
to me
Yeah.
because like G is kind of like the OG foreigner. Right? Like G is the foreigner who's been here the longest. He's like the mayor of the foreign.
Governor Machine City.
And so for G to hit me like that, I'm like, damn, Santa Claus doesn't exist. Like if G, who's been here for 17 years,
Doesn't have a favorite jam.
and now I know why.
Why?
You don't want to get your nail polish on the meat.
That's what she said.
That was a good one. That's a good one.
Now I see why.
That's
But
what
like,
This meat, nail polish.
so I got
happening.
a few suggestions, but unfortunately, I just realized I only asked foreigners.
Wow.
So now I'm in the room with my people.
So my
The local.
people-
Yeah.
All right.
We don't want to give any free pub to
No,
anybody
no,
else.
give him
Off mic.
No, I know. Do it on mic. Like best nyama joints.
Andy,
Where
go.
would you?
Just
where would you
one.
go?
I'd say, what's Kinakine's place?
Ambo.
Ambo Gardens.
Gardens.
Yeah, Ambo
They have,
Facts.
have you eaten mtura? Did you used to eat mtura before you left? Tripe.
The way he looked at G.
But because you're with G hates tripe.
No,
so.
no. Listen, I made a pact with myself once I reached a certain
Level not to eat certain things.
and one of
Certain
them was
tax
tripe, the other
bracket.
one was canned corned beef, which I grew up on.
No, but yo, I
Canned corned
feed
beef
for
with
some canned
onions
beef.
is another one. Tin mackerel is another one. Those were staples for me in Jamaica, and I said, you know what? Not touching that anymore. But I used to. Like if it's cooked well,
Yeah.
I have some.
It's
should.
done very well.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Very,
Also,
very well.
talk to Calvin. He's the one who tries out most of these spots, and Austin as well. I think you might know.
No, a few
Good
places.
nyama choma joints.
So before I forget,
that's the
there's
Calvin will probably say
Ambersell
Coco.
is near
Ambo, yeah.
to
what's this place called? Hambo?
Ambo Gardens.
Gardens.
Hambo Gardens.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm going.
right.
So I just got back last night, and there's certain kind of like things about Kenya I had forgotten,
Reverse
and
culture
one of
shock.
them was how people pronounce my name. And so I went to G's place, and the security called upstairs, and he was like, "Ricardo is downstairs." and,
You know he's panic.
and I have to ask, like, what is it about like the Kikuyu language that makes the R difficult?
Araeros. Call them the Araeros.
It's the Kikuyu language, bro. It's like when you
Beauty
use
of
for
it.
your tongue pronouncing things a certain type
Yeah,
of way.
Yeah.
I know.
Then-
It's kind of like an American who speaks French. Like sometimes it sounds kind of
Switching the
weird.
code, yeah,
But
might be
I had forgotten how many times people be like, "Nice to meet you, Ricardo."
Ricardo.
You feel like no, you're at home. Like yes,
Now, when I heard him, I was like, "Yeah, I'm back."
yeah,
But then also like there are words that I find hard to pronounce even to this day.
like broke, like broke.
Like broke.
Come on.
I don't know what that means. But like, is it Ruiru?
Ruiru.
No,
Ruiru.
that place called
Ruiru.
Yes.
Ruiru and-
I
and
struggle.
What and a wheel.
Ruiru. I find that it's one of those places. Like when someone says to me, "Oh, I live in Ruiru," I'm like, "Oh, just off Thika Road, eh?" I know where it is.
Palatukan.
Can you say Ruaraka?
Ruaraka's easy,
Okay.
but Ruiru, that one finishes me.
It's really refusing
So I was
to come
asking
out.
G earlier as well.
Yeah.
Who are the footballers in the good company? Because I see a lot of podcasts,
Okay.
and I hear a lot of yapping, expertise, but I want to see somebody on the field. So we need to organize a good company, 5-a-side.
Where's the football?
Down.
The football is
Somewhere in the bag. Yeah.
somewhere in
The
the back.
government took it.
And I notice whenever the show's on, the ball is just kind of here to show there's a ball. I never see anyone doing keepy uppies
Keepy
leading
uppies.
up into the show, no text.
uppies.
So I just want to know, can anyone on these football pods actually ball?
That's a good question.
Good question.
Yeah.
And so to the wild card cast,
Yeah.
I'm giving a challenge to any of you. If you put out a video juggling the ball 50 times
Next week's episode.
with both feet, not like 50 on your strong left foot, 50 times with both feet, I got 50K to your favorite charity.
Yo, you thought it was coming to your
I was just saying I'm
they
part
have
of the
the
chat.
And I will
Become
tell
the
you,
charity case now.
and then on top of
company
that,
charity.
But it has to be a cast member.
yeah, no, it can't just be a random person you pull up.
Yeah.
No,
Right,
no.
okay, good.
That brother who's always in the France shirt,
Venant.
yeah, no, not Venant, the other one.
Brian.
Yeah, let
Ronaldo.
Brian
Ronaldo.
Venant there in his little Espana shirt sitting off in the corner. Pick up a ball. Let me see you juggle it 50 times.
So the wild card man, you've heard the challenge.
yeah.
You've seen the
You're
challenge.
sitting here telling me about Arteta's formation, how this fullback is an inverted fullback.
Let me see
Aight,
your
let me see
formation.
you with a So that's all I'm saying. Everyone's an expert, but let me see you do it. So that's my challenge to the Wild Card podcast.
Nice.
And even if you don't, I want to see somebody juggle at the opening, and it needs to not be edited. It needs to be like, yo, here's the ball. Right? And we're going to see, okay?
Send up videos for you.
So for the next week, when everyone comes, take them downstairs or somewhere and just record them.
Yeah.
Let's see how this looks.
Let's see.
Come play with
Ricardo, it's been amazing having you on the pod as usual.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Wow, okay.
Nah, man, appreciate it, guys.
No, for real. I feel like whenever you do come through, man, the conversations are different and very, very inspiring as well. So thank you.
Listen, man, I love what you guys do. I pay attention a lot. You know, shave my beard because of what I heard about bearded men last time. I didn't want to come in here like these three.
Well, I kind of like them still. So.
But I think the pod has come a long way. I think you guys are going to go really far. And I just want to be able to, like, be required to sign a waiver when the money comes in. Because my name and likeness is going to be it. So that's all. But thanks, bro.
No, man, it's all to the good, man. All right, it's the mics are open. My name's G Money.
Ashley.
Neville.
And the young.
Rick the Great.
Hey, adios, muchachos.